Welcome to Spiritual Healing and Psychotherapy. My name is Mary, or officially Dr. Mary Patricia Quinlivan, and this podcast is all about whole healing physically, emotionally, psychologically and spiritually. And we do that by being willing to see ourselves with gentle honesty and great compassion, and also by aligning with our inner spirit, our inner wisdom, and also the spirit within nature, Mother Earth. And as we align with this, we learn deeper love, deeper wisdom, and it brings blessing. It brings healing to us, to those around us, and Mother Earth. I've been a doctor for over 34 years, and you can look me up on my website, which is livingawarenesswa.com, and also my Facebook, Instagram and YouTube channel, which are all Living Awareness WA. So let's talk about physical and psychological healing. For a long time, I've been talking about depression and anxiety and emotional challenges and issues, and how when we're experiencing that, it's because we're not living in alignment with what's wholesome for us, with what we're really meant to be. And that for all of us, including me, that our distress, if you like, can be a way of pulling us back into centre, pulling us towards what we need to be. And you know, I left the general practice setting 13 years ago, and that was because I developed very severe insomnia, which was the best thing that ever happened. It meant that I was forced into doing this, which I love. I spend an hour with clients. We start with a meditation. There's a deep sense of presence and that spiritual essence coming into everything I do now. In fact, it's more a handing over to that. And also with clients, it's a resting into that for them. So it's really clients finding their own way forward by accessing their inner wisdom. And I'm just here as a guide towards that. And you know, the earth so needs all of us to do this. This is part of how we're going to heal the earth, and the wars and the pain that is happening is if we start to heal ourselves first. And the way to do that is by learning to listen to our own inner wisdom. And so much of it's about, and I'll get to physical health in a minute, but what I'm going to be saying is that physical health is exactly the same, that it's an opportunity to give us some guidance. And that doesn't mean that sometimes, you know, we're not meant to experience a certain health issue as a part of a certain lifetime, and that perhaps that issue may go on for the whole lifetime, and that's just what's meant to be. That's totally okay and understandable, and it's never about judgment. But everything, no matter what it is, can give us an opportunity to grow. And sometimes with physical health issues, as we tune in and we become more and more true to ourselves, things do heal and they do shift. And what I was going to say earlier is that, you know, so often it's about we're trying to please the world. We all want to be approved of and accepted, and the greatest human need is to belong. So we tend to act in a way that we think will bring approval and connection and love. And that's really understandable, and there's nothing to judge about that, except that it can take us away from even being able to hear while we're caught in society and the busyness and who we think we should be. It can take us away from even being able to hear what's wholesome, let alone then being able to live that, being able to become more and more true to what we're actually here for in the first place. You know, all of us we've all been born of this earth. We are here for a reason. She is our mother for a reason. This is what we've chosen for this life. And we all have beautiful gifts and value to offer Earth at this time. And it's a matter of being able to slowly quieten and listen and hear and connect to the earth, connect to our inner spirit, to be able to become more and more and more authentic and true to who it is we are meant to be. And then guess what? We're going to be able to heal both physically and psychologically if that's what's meant to be as part of this lifetime experience. And you know, I've been talking for a while about psychological health, as I said, and if we're not living life from our true spirit, if we're not honouring who we want to be and offering our value, it's going to be a bit scary and create anxiety because our inner being doesn't feel looked after. It doesn't feel like it's going to be cared for. It doesn't feel like anyone's going to be saying no or honouring it or standing up for it. So and also it's erosive to our self-esteem, so we start to not feel good about ourselves. And of course, that's completely influenced by our early conditioning and whether we experience pain or criticism or lack of love, and all of which needs to be held with the greatest compassion, and shifts need to be made with great gentility, but also honesty and a recognition that as we start to accept our fear, as we start to step through fear, as we start to stand up for ourselves in the world, as we start to hear our authentic voice and become that more and more, we will heal. We will heal both psychologically and physically. So I'm realizing more and more that physical health provides that holistic opportunity, just like psychological health, that we are a whole essence. We experience this physical body. Ultimately, it's illusory, but we experience this physical body and we are emotional, we are psychological, we are spiritual, and all of it combines to our physical and emotional well-being. So it is about every aspect. It is about our diet, it is about our lifestyle, it is about looking after our bodies physically. It is also about dealing with our emotional and psychological health. And it is about becoming more and more and more authentic to our inner spirit, what we are ultimately meant to be. And for me, more and more in my life, it feels like it's just listening to God every day. It's tuning in, listening to what my body feels like doing, working on accepting myself and accepting others, setting boundaries that I need to set, but resting in and sitting in that divine inner spirit that we all are. And the more I do that, the more wholesome and healthy I feel. And you know, when things aren't going smoothly, which is normal for all of us, and me, by the way, very often that is just the universe or our bodies or our emotional self trying to bring us back into alignment. There might be something that we need to pay attention to in order to shift whatever it is that we're experiencing. And so often in myself or in clients that I see here, you know, people are experiencing things that they're struggling with and that they wish wasn't happening. But when they really center in, or for myself, I know more and more and more and more that I can just trust what's going on. It's going to be guiding me towards a more wholesome and more open and more divinely centered future. And as we deepen into our own inner spirit, we do start to trust that more and more, that no matter what's happening, even if it feels really hard, that there's going to be some silver lining, some growth opportunity here. And even right now, it's late April in Perth, WA, and we've had very little rain so far, and many of you know that I've planted a lot of trees down at a property down south, and I have been concerned for their welfare, but I know, and I've been really working on, well, accepting any fears that I have and just trusting. I know that this being called Mother Earth or Gaia or Yahweh, that's in Auntie Jinta's ancestors' language, that Yahweh knows what she's doing and Divine Spirit knows what it's doing, and this must be happening for a reason. But I do just want to encourage you all to send good vibes. If you live here in WA, to do that, or if you live elsewhere, to send us some good vibes about the rain. And I did this thing this morning, which was, I was up in some bushland near me, and I just decided to do a little rain dance. So I did a little rain dance in the bush. And just when I finished doing the rain dance, an entire flock of red-tailed black cockatoos flew over. And I don't know, but I associate them with rain, so I'm hoping that did something. But back to the topic of trusting what's going on, even though sometimes that can be so difficult. But to keep reminding ourselves that everything can be an opportunity for growth, and be it our physical health, be it our emotional, psychological health, all of it can slowly pull us back towards centre, towards our true authenticity. And it's never about judgment, by the way. It's whether it's physical or psychological issues. And sometimes, I've got a hamstring injury that I've had for a couple of years now, right at the insertion of my hamstring. And I know for me that's to do with fear of really deeply letting go into my full authentic self, which is just spirit, really. But I have to be kind to it and accept it, and it is slowly releasing. I can feel that process, and I've even had healings from some very beautiful beings, a healing from Isira on a workshop, and it wasn't about that was expected to heal me immediately. It's more that, is that contributing to an overall process of healing in me? Yes. And was it catalyzing that? Yeah, it really was. So I want to talk a little bit now about what made me realise I needed to shift into doing a bit of physical health again. And, well, first of all, the physical health, by the way, I'm not going to be doing normal GP stuff, that's general practice stuff. It's just about if someone has, chronic tiredness or a chronic illness, or just, aches and pains or something they want to bring up that's physical, that we go into, just like I have done with the psychological health, that we go into the whole essence, the physical, spiritual, psychological, emotional being, and we tune into that and slowly and gently and with great compassion uncover what feels like a wholesome way forward. And, almost everyone I see, when they really tune into whatever's going on in life, they are able to start to uncover what they know to be is the next step. Even if it might not be the full picture yet, it will be what feels like the next step. And what I'm doing as part of that, and this was triggered by, I had a consult with someone who's a very beautiful, clear channel of some deities and divine spirit guides, and her name is Courtney Beck. And in this consult, it was uncovered through the help of some beautiful spirit beings that some of my past lives, and that there were other things that I was meant to start to bring through. And I want to tell you all, this is nothing special about me. All of us have had past lives. Well, that's my feeling anyway. All of us have had past lives leading up to this one. And in those lives, we have been learning and honing various skills and gaining understanding that is meant to be used as a part of our current life. Isira, or Auntie Jinta, she always says the universe produces apples to be eaten, meaning that we all have beautiful gifts. So though I'll share a little bit about some of the lives I've learned I've had, this is the case for all of you as well. So what I discovered is that I've been a healer before. In one life, I was a medicine woman in quite a simple home, so nothing lavish, in fact probably quite poor, but using herbs. I've also been a monk in orange robes, so no doubt spirituality has been a big part of some past lives for me. And there was a life in ancient Egypt where I was a form of doctor there, and the doctors then were also high priests, because back then in ancient Egypt, spirituality was a part of healing. And I was called Light Hands, and it was about deep energetic healing, tuning into the energy of Mother Earth, the loving energy of Mother Earth, and also helping people to come to the root causes of what was going on for them. And when I heard this, I was really, teary, to be honest, really moved, because I don't know, healing's my thing, this life. And I don't know how to put that any other way, but that's what I'm here for, I feel. And, it has been, I guess, some loss the last 10 years or so to not be doing that physical healing, but it's not the same as what I was doing in general practice at all. It's much more a combination of the whole, and using that ancient energy to catalyse people's healing and to help them on the path forward, also with discovering that the whole being, as I said, the spiritual, psychological, emotional and physical being. And it may not be that people walk out entirely healed. It may be what happened for me when I've had experiences in the past from very divine beings, more that's a catalysing of the process for people, or more that it's an uncovering of the path forward towards healing. Whatever it is, I know that this energy is loving, and it's going to be pulling people towards the truth of what they are. And when I've been in the room so far with clients, for me it really is just sinking into, and it does make me feel emotional here, sinking into the divine essence that is Mother Earth, because I feel her power, and this divine essence that Earth is the same divine essence that we all are. It's one consciousness. We are not separate. And of course, what Mother Earth is in truth, the essence of Mother Earth is divine love. Same with the trees and the soil. And I have been using a little bit of ochre that I collected from the hills, and I was very careful to ask the ancestors and Mother Earth if it was okay to do that. And many of you know I've been connected to Isira, or Auntie Jinta, for a long time now, 8 or 9 years, and I have witnessed her using ochre. And I know that my ancestry, which is all Irish and Celt and Druid, that we also connected to the earth and used her healing. So I've been using just a little bit of ochre, and ochre symbolises gentility and various other things. It might be heart opening, it might be purity, depending on the colours. And then I just go ahead with the healing, and whatever happens, happens. So I would love to invite you all to come and try out one of these sessions. It will be loving. That's what I know. And the other thing is I've been asking for help. And the other thing about not only from Mother Earth, but divine guidance from whichever angels or spirit guides are available or are appropriate. And I've mentioned in the past that I've felt the help and support of some Indigenous aunties and uncles along the way. And through that recent healing session I mentioned as well, I've realised even more, and I want to share with you even more, how much support we have available. There are spirit guides, there are angels, there are all sorts of beings, not necessarily just on planet Earth either, who are intent on helping the healing of this planet and all of us, intent on helping to bring us home, to bring us towards divine love, and who are available. And I've been asking for help. I always do both in my counselling and physical healing sessions, and have experienced the guidance of some beautiful divine beings. So know that would be available too if you would like to come along and try out a session. And I also welcome the divine essence of the ancestors of this country, my ancestors, but also the ancestors of the client that I'm working with. Very often, mostly the divine essence of any ancestors that might like to help, and have experienced that in some sessions as well. So you're welcome to come along and give this a go. And of course, if you live here in WA, that's easiest. You can come and see me in person. I haven't yet done any online, but potentially that's possible in the future, because it is easy enough to go through a meditative process with people. So I'll think about that for the future as well, and let you know if and when that's happening. And there was one other thing I wanted to talk about when I was talking about Mother Earth and her healing energy. And in fact, it's not just Mother Earth. There are, I've talked to you before about the Pleiadians, and I know there are beings on other planets and other stars and planets that have beautiful energy that are also contributing to the healing of this planet. But right now I want to talk about Mother Earth. My lovely husband, Dan, and I just recently spent 2 weeks completely immersed in nature. We went to Uluru and Katajuta and the McDonald Ranges and all the gorges in Central Australia. And honestly, we were there for 2 weeks. But from the first day there, we flew in, arrived at, 3:30 in the afternoon, and had to do some shopping and hire a vehicle. And we started our way, on the road out towards the McDonald Ranges and all the beautiful gorges. And there'd been a lot of rain, which was really lovely for Central Australia. It doesn't get a lot. And so the rivers were running, there were rivers flowing across the road. And from the very first night, we were really working on just listening to our inner being, listening to Mother Nature and the earth as to, what the way forward was. We had booked some places, because you do have to. But the first night we crossed many rivers on the road, but they were fairly little. And then we came to one that was quite huge, and we realised we didn't want to take the hire vehicle across. So, and just right nearby, we found a little track that the hire vehicle could go on, and we were able to camp that first night by this beautiful river, the Hugh River. It was flowing, and there was no one else there, and we were completely immersed from day dot in Mother Earth, and we were barefoot swimming in the streams. And there was one place we walked out along the edge of the river out into the middle of nowhere, and were able to just lie in the river and hold on to, there was a log going across the river, we just held on to it and let the river flow past us. And it was just like this releasing of all the fear and the energy of having been in the cities, and complete immersion in Mother Earth, the loving energy that she is. And it continued like that. Everything that we did, it just worked. And obviously, because especially when we were at Uluru and some places like Cartagena and Kings Canyon, there were a number of other people. But we did make an effort in each place to get up early so we could be there. And quite often we were there as the sun was rising. We were there by ourselves. We were at this beautiful women's waterhole at Uluru by ourselves. And it just worked. Everything we were given, even if, like at Kings Canyon, it was really busy and there was a beautiful waterhole right in the centre of the canyon, and we were given 20 minutes there alone. And it was, for me, an ever deepening into that divine essence that Mother Earth is, and recognising that Mother Earth and myself and all of you are the one consciousness. And we are all here working together with our own beautiful gifts to offer this earth and this planet right now in order to help ourselves heal and to help the planet heal. And, that is the one process, the process of our own healing, the process of owning what it is we're meant to be, stepping back from the busyness of the world, stepping back from society's expectations, stepping back from pleasing others, and listening to, allowing ourselves the quiet of, hang on, what is it that I'm here to offer? That is what's going to heal the planet and heal ourselves in the process, both physically and psychologically and spiritually. And once we are willing to just sit in that, to open into that, to trust it, even if it feels odd or hard or unusual, or, like we might be judged or persecuted, that's highly unlikely to happen. I want to let you know. I've always had fear of doing odd stuff, leaving general practice was one of those things. And I continue to have fear of being odd. But I just am odd now. But it always works, It's never what I think it's going to be. It's just like, this flows. This is what I'm meant to be. So it will be the same for you, I promise, as we trust what we know is the next step. This is what's going to bring healing for the planet, and that's the climate, as well as what's happening on the planet, the political unrest, the wars, the pain. The way forward is to work on being authentic, to centre into spirit. That will guide us, and it will guide us as to what we are meant to do on the earth right now. And I so want to encourage you about this earthing yourself. It was like being completely on retreat, and that a bit like Mother Earth was the spirit guide for the retreat. And that we had this beautiful experience. It was our last day. We were coming back to Alice Springs, and I was a bit sad to be leaving. But the Fink River, I don't know if any of you have heard of it. I think there's some big motor race there. But anyway, the Fink River was running, which is really unusual, but because there'd been a lot of rain. And this river is one of the oldest rivers on the planet. And so, of course, we stopped and we found our way down the river a bit, and there was an area in the centre of the river that was dry, and then the river was flowing on either side. So we swam in the river, went out to the middle bit, and just completely coated ourselves in mud, in Mother Earth, and just lay there, and then washed ourselves off in the Fink River, this beautiful old ancient river. And, that was just such a fitting, loving end. And I want to describe this meditation I had, and it was like the beginning. For one of the first times, I had been feeling ever more deeply that the same essence that Mother Earth is, this divine beingness, is the essence that I am. And in that meditation that I had by the river, probably for the first time, I sat completely fearlessly in just pure beingness. It's not that I haven't been entering that for quite a while. I have, but for a moment there, for a period of quite a long while actually, I was just resting entirely in that, No fear, just trusting divine love and trusting the essence that Mother Earth is, knowing that she and I are this one essence, and she and all of you are this one essence, and together we can find our way forward to heal this planet and to heal ourselves. I think that's enough for today. Thank you for being with me. It's been an absolute pleasure to share with you. And as always, I'd love you to share this podcast with friends or family or anyone you think may be interested. And don't forget to check me out on livingawarenesswa.com and all my other pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Living Awareness WA. And I highly recommend Isira, and her website is isira.com. Much love to you all.